It would have been possible to sort it, but it's easier if I just have it saved. That's for YouTube, because I need to put these videos onto YouTube to then rip the audio off YouTube to then put it into the podcast form.
Well, we're live now, so
we appear to be. Yep. Let me just quickly check, and I'll give this a quick share. Where are we now? Oh, where are we now? So it would appear that we are in fact live.
Good thing we can edit this before we put it on YouTube.
Yeah, getting set up sometimes the hardest part.
Yeah, it is for sure. We're new to video as well. We've just started doing video. It's usually just a pre-recorded audio show. Yeah, we are live, guys. So let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second interview of the evening. This is one of our Negro League Baseball Museum Art Fundraiser artist interviews. I'm John of Ball Caps and Bagpipes.
And I'm Jason of Ball Caps and Bagpipes as well. Former player and former president and Baseball Scotland Hall of Famer.
Yep. This interview we're joined by Chris Brown. Say hello, Chris.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
So Chris, you're one of over 75 artists that are involved in this massive project. Let's start this interview by going back to your own baseball background and your upbringing in baseball. Have you been playing growing up? To what level did you play, if you did?
Well, actually I started, I guess, when I was like 5, like most I started really, really young. As soon as I was able to get on the field, I got on the field and honestly, I played all the way up until I was 29, I guess, when I retired. So I spent 6 years in the minor leagues as a player, and even as a pitching coach, I spent another year as a pitching coach in minor leagues. So played for quite a while.
So for a guy like me or someone else around Scotland and the UK, how much of a jump up from sort of high school level, college level to the minor leagues even is there? Is it as big of a jump as we would expect, or is it maybe more so? Like, do we maybe take the minor leagues for granted as lay people?
Well, there's even a big jump from AA to the major leagues. From my experience and all the players that I know that have actually made it to the major leagues, there's a pretty good jump even from there. Everybody's a lot more polished. They actually say it's easier to hit in the major league than it is in AA, because they're, AA, the guy's throwing 98, but he may not know where it's going. Whereas in the major league, it's pretty much going to be, right there on the strike zone. And that's why they get so upset when somebody comes up high and tight in the major leagues, because they're like, hey, that had to have been on purpose. So, of course, we know, baseball's baseball, and sometimes things get away. But from high school to the minor leagues, that's a huge, a massive jump, to be honest with you. I went to college out of high school. I was fortunate enough to be on 4 conference championship teams, 2 high school state champion teams, and actually was a league champion in pro ball one year. So I got to be on some really, really good teams and around some really good players. And so it's obviously winning is a lot more fun than losing. So so I got to have a lot of fun. A lot of memories. Pretty much my whole past. I think about from the time I was little to even a year. Well, the year I got married. So everything before my wife was associated with baseball. So it's kind of hard to, not, if I think about anything in my past, baseball is always, kind of the center thing there. So, but, I guess even to get back to your question even more, I guess even jumping from college to the minor leagues, there's an adjustment, obviously. I played D1 college baseball, so you wouldn't think it'd be such a huge jump because a lot of those guys are coming out. So most of the guys you're playing with are at the college level, usually the year before. So, but you're kind of picking the elite, from college. So now, you're not playing everybody that's in college. Now you're taking the elite from college and you're only playing them. So it's almost like being in an all-star college game every day.
Wow.
So there is obviously a jump there. And then as you keep going up, everybody gets better. So the talent level just keeps getting rising and rising and rising. So obviously, yeah, it's true that there is certainly a jump at every level.
So
you reached sorry, Jason.
I was going to ask, which college did you go to? And then were you drafted? Were you signed as a free agent?
So out of high school, I went to a junior college, right? So I went to Cali County Community College in Kansas. And, you probably never heard of that all the way over there. But they're actually an extremely kind of like a JUCO powerhouse.
Right.
Where they've won the JUCO World Series 3 times, and I don't even know how many conference championships they've won. I mean, they've won a lot. We won in my 2 years there. We won 96 games. We were 96 and 12.
Wow.
So they play a lot more games, obviously, at that level, just because they can. The rules are a little more lax. At least they used to be. I don't know. It's been so long. Maybe they're not anymore. But and then I went to Northwestern State University, the Demons, in Natchitoches, Louisiana. It's in the Southland Conference. And like I said, won 2 conference championships there. Let me see, the 2 years I was there, total, I think we won 79 games. So, again, just really successful. We had 4 pitchers my senior year get drafted, including myself.
Wow.
And I got drafted by the Cubs, actually fairly late, 33rd round, but I got a chance, so I took it.
I mean, you're a born winner, it sounds like, so you should have probably gone earlier. It sounds like you've won everywhere you went.
I was fortunate enough to be around a lot of great players and a lot of great coaches, really all the way up. I had really good coaching, so that can't be taken for granted for sure. Success of a team has a lot to do with the coaching and the program and the kind of the attitude that the whole program takes. I'm a firm believer that a lot of times people fail or teams fail because not everybody buys in. So
yeah, I would agree. Now, that was actually going to be my next question. Now, we've talked about the progression through the levels, obviously high school, college, single A, double A. In your personal experience, Chris, and you might have already answered that question, would you say that it was more the coaches or increased specialization in your position, or just the sheer level of the talent that you end up playing with every day that led you to become the best player you could be? Or would it be kind of more even split of the two?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. Obviously being around good players rubs off on you. You pick up things from certain players. I had teammates that made it to the major leagues, so obviously they were very talented. So you kind of adopt some things that work for them. You should, and I think we do in all aspects of life, is we pick from the people that we admire, and we take things from them and we mold them into our own lives because we admire that and we model ourselves after that. So obviously I had a lot of respect for my coaches, and I tried to listen and do everything they told me to do most of the time. and then I had teammates that you should talk to your teammates on, hey, how did you approach this guy, or how is this working? Well, how are you throwing this pitch? Well, how are you getting to do that kind of thing? If you're not trying to learn, no matter what level you're at, if you're still not trying to learn, then you're probably digressing. You're moving the wrong way. So I actually coached some kids too that made it to the major leagues, and so I really got to pick their brains after the fact. Jaime Garcia being one of the major ones, played for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
In fact, started a couple games in the World Series against the Rangers, my hometown here. But seeing him, he believe it or not, he was not on the straight and narrow in high school. You know, he got kicked off the team twice. You know, kind of had a big head for a while, but then he got drafted, got to move his way up, or got signed and moved his way up. Started hanging around guys like Chris Carpenter, you know, and those really good character guys that were in the big leagues, and that really rubbed off on him. And you could just really see him change because he admired those people, and they were obviously very successful. So he started molding himself after those people. And now you look at him and he's building houses for poor people in Mexico and those kind of things. So, I mean, just what a 360. And again, I think it has to do with the people that he was around and who he admired.
So let me ask you this. You mentioned the kind of older kind of heads on a team taking a guy like a Jaime Garcia who maybe didn't have his head screwed on all the time on board and molding them into better characters. Do you fear at all for players coming through now, the younger superstars, like these guys who are 22, 23 years old and going to be earning $40 million a year, and they're the best talents in the game, but they might not necessarily have those kind of role models moving forward in the next 5 or so years? The guys that are going to be the role models in the next few years are already kind of massive stars by the time they're 23. Do you have any concern about, you know, where that could lead players' heads to in the next kind of generation?
Well, obviously, it's hard to feel sorry for anybody making $40 million, but
Oh yeah.
but at the same time, you see players every year, and and this goes back all the way back to shoeless Joe Jackson. You know, players make bad decisions. I mean, it happens. And so even with sometimes with good role models, I mean, people are going to make bad decisions because they put themselves in bad situations. So you would hope, though, that there are still players that are taking other players under their wing. You know, you see players getting upset about all these unwritten rules and you know, sportscasters on TV saying, this shouldn't even be a rule. This is stupid and blah, blah, blah. Well, that rule's been in place for over 100 years, you know, and you have to respect that, you know. And I don't mind a player coming from, say, the Dominican Republic, hits a home run and celebrates it. It is what it is. I mean, he played baseball his way growing up. Why should he have to change that? I mean, if you don't want a guy to celebrate hitting a home run, for example, then don't give up a home run. You know,
Yep.
If you don't like it, then next time get him out. He's hit the home run. He deserves to celebrate. You know, if you don't like it, then do something about it. But yeah.
But you're right about some of the unwritten rules are in place to kind of function in that role of, you know, keeping players in a certain mentality and growing their characters. You know, some of these unwritten rules aren't just there for the sake of it. You know, there's
Right.
a reason they've existed for over 100 years. There's a certain element of respect in baseball that doesn't really exist in any other game, and a self-policing kind of mechanism. And I think, particularly, as I say, with this kind of young crop of superstars, if that goes away, then there's a potential for a serious lack of discipline to start to become prevalent. And when those guys become the veterans, there isn't really going to be a leadership among players, and it could end up harming the game, I think, in the long term.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, every unwritten rule is about respect. I mean, every single one of them. You know, the whole bat flip thing, that's about, I mean, people get upset because they're disrespecting the pitcher. You know, you remember A-Rod running across the mound and the pitcher getting all upset about it. That's an unwritten rule, you know, and that was because he didn't have enough respect for the pitcher. You know, I get it because I'm a pitcher, you know, and that's my area, you know, stay off, especially I just got you out. Don't come running across my mound, you know, but that's the mentality that I had and a lot of players during my generation had, where one, I'm going to go out and earn the respect, but then I'm going to demand it. You know, I'm going to make sure you respect me. Whereas now, you know, I actually coached high school baseball for 18 years and stopped doing it recently, mainly to focus on my family and my artwork. But you know, somebody would do something on the other team and I'd be like, that's outrageous, you know, and I'd look around in the dugout and my guys wouldn't even be bothered by it. They wouldn't think anything of it. And I'm just like, that doesn't bother you, you know? And it didn't. And so, which even bothered me even worse, you know, because I just grew up to where you demand respect. And if somebody disrespects you, you do something about it. And so, yeah, I don't know if I like the way the game's going, the direction it's going now or not. But I love the game enough to see where it goes, I guess. You know, who am I to decide, you know, again, who am I to decide that the game should be this way? I was just one little small fraction of a piece, you know, that got to play the game. So I don't get to make the rules. The guys playing it now, you know, get to make the rules.
So you transitioned from playing and coaching into your artwork. Were you always an artistic guy? Did you always have that as a kind of side passion, or is it something that you adopted later after you know, were no longer pitching and coaching?
Well, I always, from the time I could pick up a pencil, like I feel like I spent a lot of time kind of by myself when I was a kid. Even though I had an older brother and my sister's way younger, so she didn't really count into that equation. But so I always spent a lot of time drawing, you know, from a little kid, and I think we all do. The difference is I just never grew up, you know. So I kept drawing. I never stopped drawing, and so I was an art major in college. Actually, before that, I got to be in this special program they had at school. If you got straight A's in all your classes, you could pick a subject that you could spend extra time on. Somehow, I don't know how, somehow I got straight A's that particular year. And so I got to focus on art. And this was in like the 5th grade. So they sent me to the high school with the high school art teacher. And I got to spend more one-on-one time working with him. And so that really catapulted me, you know, and really made me really more interested in it. Then I majored in art in college, met a lot of people that I really enjoyed and taught me a lot. And then obviously throughout my playing career, I was always still working. It was just always kind of the back burner because I had to spend so much time, you know, spending 15 hours on a bus to go to the next game, you know. So I was always working. I just wasn't working at the capacity that I'm obviously am now. And then 2009, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, I got that gig, and I'm told I'm told that that's a lifelong gig. So I should have it until I can't pick up my pencils anymore, or I can't see. So yeah. So that's been extraordinary for me. Obviously, that's catapulted me to kind of another level, you know, as far as respect, you know, throughout the, you know, the other artists and those kind of things. I get a little bit of, you know, just because I get to post pictures with Shaquille O'Neal and Peyton Manning, and, you know, and I get to meet all those people, which is just unreal, you know. Something as a poor kid growing up in little McCook, Nebraska, I, you know, never imagined I'd be, you know, getting to meet all those people. And so every year I get to do somewhere between 9 and 11 portraits for them, and get to meet all those people. And yeah, it's like Christmas every year when they announce who's going to be going in, because I get to do everybody's portrait. So
that's amazing.
Awesome, man. So tell us more about how you ended up in the work that you do with the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.
So I am their portrait artist. So they'll announce, like, for example, Ricky Weeks is going in next summer. In fact, Ricky Weeks
former
is
NHL goalie.
No.
Yeah, Milwaukee Brewers.
I'm thinking Kevin Weeks. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricky Weeks. Yep.
So he is in fact going in next summer. So I'm excited about that. I get extra excited when the baseball players go in. But so what I'll do is I'll talk to him on the phone. He'll send me some pictures. We'll discuss ideas on what all he wants represented in that portrait. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously there's a head and shoulder shot. I mean, that's a portrait. But when I came along and I took over, it became very important for me for somebody to walk through the Hall of Fame if they saw the portrait, they may not notice the face or know who that is. But if they see everything in the background, they should know what they did, which again, then draws more attention to that portrait. And then they go up to the nice electric touch screen and touch their name, and all their, stats and videos start to play. And so every every year I do a 14 by 18 portrait of each inductee, plus the Dave Dixon Award winner and the Sports Writers Awards, and that's why we get up to about 11 a year.
Wow.
Brilliant. Let's talk about more of your art in general. Is that are those your work that you have behind you on the wall there?
Yeah, these are the ones. So I do obviously I still do artwork of other people, but the Hall of Famers, these were all Hall of Famers. So I'm smart enough to do an extra painting and have them sign it. And then so what I do is I take all these and I put them in gallery shows.
Right.
And so every piece that's in that show is literally signed by the person that's in the painting. Mm-hmm. So it kind of makes it you don't see a ton of sports artists in galleries, period. They kind of snub their nose at us a little bit. I think that's changing, but you also don't see autographed, artwork. And so I've had a few shows. My last show was last November, somewhere around there. And it went really, really well. We had a really good turnout, and it was here in the Fort Worth area. So obviously I'm looking to expand on that. Every year I add more and more to it, with I get more and more signatures and that kind of thing. Let's see if I got this big bad boy here. He's big in
Wow.
yeah. So it's big in a lot of ways. It's a big painting, but he's a big dude. So that's Bronny Coleman. He'll be going in next summer also. And so I'm going to have him obviously sign that, 8-time Mr. Olympia, and so that makes my show really cool because it's not just baseball or just football. I got a lot of genres, there's a lot of different sports represented. So if you came to one of my shows, you'd see, great art, but you'd also see, hopefully somebody in a sport that you're interested in.
So do you approach the style of, say, like if you have an American football player and then a baseball player and then maybe like a strongman like Coleman, do you approach them differently, or do you have your own style that's just kind of your personality put into those different things?
Well, I really think I approach every single one of them individually. You look at your subject matter, you have to make decisions about, obviously their jersey colors and everything are already decided, right? So then you start getting in, well, how do I want the background to look, and where do I want the focus to be, those kind of things. So, and I don't want one piece to look anything like another piece. Here I am now, I've done over 115 portraits for the Hall of Fame, and I've got 40 of these in my studio that are signed. So it gets harder and harder. but that's the great thing about being in networking with these other artists. I talked to them today. I'm going to call another one this evening, and we talk about those kind of things, and we're all starting to understand that it only helps all of us if we share different ideas and thoughts and techniques. That's the coolest thing about this. If you look at all the different artists that are doing the Negro League Museum show, I mean, how different are all of them? I mean, that's the coolest thing to see, is we're all doing the same sport, but every single one of us is so different. And I think that's just what makes it so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And you touched on the project. Let's move on to that. As an American, as an artist, and as a baseball fan, what do the Negro Leagues mean to you? And how did you come to be involved with the project?
Well, Tad reached out to me, and I'm thinking it's because I had a little bit of a presence on Instagram and those kind of things. So glad Tad found me. As far as what it means to me, I think back to obviously the injustice, you think about all those players that were in those Negro Leagues that were probably would have still dominated the major leagues, you know, but never got that chance to be in there, you know, because of the racism and those kind of things, the segregation. So for those guys to have their own museum and being honored the way that they should be honored, obviously is very important. And as a baseball fan and a sports artist myself, you know, for me to get a chance to help out in any way, shape, or form, or even tagging my name associated with them is pretty cool for me. You know, it's something that if I would have thought back when I was a little kid growing up in Nebraska, I wouldn't have thought that I'd get a chance to be associated with them either. So I look at it from a selfish standpoint. I'm excited to be associated with them. But if I can help them out in a way to where they get a chance to get even more, you know, sunshine on them, get more light on them, then obviously that's what I'm going to do.
Brilliant. And have you already got a design set up that you're going to be submitting to the project, or are you still working on that just now?
Well, so because of my schedule and everything that I have to do, I'm going to take 2 former pieces, and I'm selling prints of those pieces, but I'm going to put the 100th anniversary logo on them. I have a Satchel Paige piece and gentleman, Dave Malarcher. So Dave Malarcher went into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in 2016. And so I've talked to the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, hey, we have a chance to use Malarcher's portrait for the Negro League Museum and raise money. And of course, they were all on board. They loved the idea. So so I'm lucky enough to already have a couple pieces that are definitely, you know, it's them. So it's perfect. It was like it was meant to be. And my Satchel Paige piece is probably one of my more popular pieces that I've done. So again, being able to use that, and obviously using Satchel's likeness, you know, it was destined to bring money back to the museum for them, you know. So I'm lucky to have those two pieces that I can steer in that direction and try to give back.
Amazing, man. And before we start opening some cards up, we're going to go do a card pack opening just shortly. Where can the listeners find you on social media, and where can we find more of your work? Okay, so I'm kind of everywhere. my website is chrisbrownsportsart.net. So you can kind of see everything there. Instagram, same thing, Chris Brown Sports Art. Twitter, it's actually C Brown Sports Art, because I couldn't go that long. You know how Twitter likes to restrict everybody. Yeah. But I guess that's pretty much it. I do have a Facebook page that's just Chris Brown Sports Art also. So really, if you start typing in Chris Brown Sports Art, that I should start popping up, you know, hopefully. Awesome, man. It's been great chatting with you. Let's open some cards, Jason, unless you have anything else you want to ask.
Yeah, actually, I had a couple of questions before we start. So you said you're in Fort Worth. So how often do you go to Billy Bob's?
I have been there. I try to stay away from the mechanical bull, though. I don't need my spine being, you know, ruptured.
John won't know what we're talking about. I had a friend that was did law school out that way, was in Fort Worth, and he's like, you got to go to Billy Bob's just once. You got to go out that way.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. And I think so Texas was having some restrictions because they were closing down bars, right?
Right.
Because of COVID. So I think they just opened back up as a restaurant to kind of get around that. So, yeah, I mean, that's an amazing place, because they still get all the big time acts, you know, all the country stars still come back and still play there. So it's a pretty cool place.
It was awesome. I mean, there was a rodeo going on, and when we were there, and I was just blown away. My wife's from Sweden, and she was just like, "This place is amazing." You know, this was
probably thought she was in the Old West. Yeah.
You know, we did the stockyards, and she was like, "This is so Americana. Like, this is what I'm like taking as many photos she could." She's like, "No one's gonna believe this." She had a blast.
Yeah. They still have little cattle drives. You know, they're just for show. Yep. But they'll run the cattle through that main street right there. You know, so I take my son down there. He loves it.
Oh, that's cool. I said I enjoyed my time in Fort Worth. Like I need to go back that way, and unfortunately,
I'm literally a 30-minute drive straight north of the stockyards.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we open the smart cards, it also brings us to the segue. You were nominated, or you were what? I'm trying to read about Beckett's here. You were featured in Beckett in 2019 and 2020 as our top sports artist in the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah. And this year they just developed a new sports artist team.
Right.
And I'm on that. I'm a part of that. So I'm very excited about that too.
Wow, that's really cool. So, because this is where I was talking to the previous guests here, and I don't know if you know Jimmy Parker from Beauty of the Game.
Not personally, not yet. No.
No, so I stumbled across him on Instagram or Twitter or something like that, and he was talking about baseball card as art, and then he got various sports artists out that way, and so it really kind of opened my eyes where I was a huge card collector in the 80s and 90s, like most guys were, and now just kind of revisiting things there, and so getting back into it and just kind of realizing that the layout and stuff behind that went there. There was actually some real artwork behind it, where before I was just trying to go. I just want my Canseco's and Mark McGwire cards. So
yeah, you're trying to get your heroes. Yeah,
and now it just gives me a completely different perspective. So like with the Topps 2020 project that's come out, and they've grabbed the 20 artists there, it's really blown me away what they've done with the cards, and I'm just absolutely loving it. So I'm guessing that might be across your deck right now.
Well, I got to tell you that I've been following that too, because I know some of the guys that are doing it, and it's a pretty cool project. But it's neat that they are, they're sharing their process, and they're having the big reveals and those kind of things for the cards. And I got buddies, that are still my age, which is up there a little bit. They're still collecting cards. Of course now, because they're professionals and they have a little money now, they're after those, the Mike Trout rookie cards and those kind of things. So
yeah, that's not in my budget.
Yeah, mine either. I'll tell you what cards I have. I have 7 cards.
Right.
Okay. My 6 so my own cards when I play, and then I have a Jimmy Pearsall signed card.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so if people don't know, Jimmy Pearsall, obviously he played with the Red Sox back in the 50s.
Yep.
Something like that. He's supposed to be just a stud, right? When he hit, I ask people all the time this trivia question. Like, he's the only one who's ever hit a home run and ran the bases backwards.
Yes.
So not like physically back. He went to third first.
Right.
Right. And it wasn't against the rules. The next day it was against the rules. They actually put it in the rules that, but he was our outfield spring training coach when I was with the Cubs. And my job was to, the guy, he cussed like a sailor, which you would think, a guy, 1950s Red Sox player, that's kind of what you think, right? After all, this was a guy who, a fan jumped on the fence and ran up to shake his hand, and he kicked him in the nuts. So, but he liked me. At least I felt like he liked me, and so he would pick me out to come watch his back, because he was hitting fly balls from second base during batting practice, because he was already 85 years old. So, to hit him to the wall, he had to cheat and get all the way out there. And so I got to talk to him quite a bit, which was really cool. And he literally signed a card and handed it to me one day on the field. So, and Jimmy, he passed away a couple years ago. So that card means a lot to me.
Yeah, imagine the stories he told were absolutely amazing as well.
Yeah. They made that movie about him called Fear Strikes Out.
Yep.
It's an old black and white movie. So just going back and watching that, you learn a lot. So
cool. All right. Well, let's open up some cards, and then we'll call it a night for us, because it's we're getting up to 11:30.
Yes. Yeah, it's almost tomorrow.
Yeah, it's almost. So I've got about 7 packs of cards. You can choose which ones you want to open. So I've got 87 Topps.
Oh wow.
89 Donruss. I'm all about the junk wax. That's my thing. That's my thing. 1990 Score. 91 Stadium Club.
Oh wow.
92 Donruss. 93 studio,
Okay.
or we're going to go modern, and we got the big league cards that came out this year.
Oh, I can't go modern.
I didn't think so, no, but give me a choice.
Which one has the gum in it?
The 87 Donner, our Tops does.
Boom. There we go.
Okay.
You got to chew the gum and blow a bubble though.
I'll chew the gum because you asked me to do it. I'm helping my buddy get his card shop going out here, and I was like, well, I collected in the 80s and 90s, so I'll be your junk wax guy. And so we bought a bunch of cards. And I bought a pack of 81 Tops, and I tried the gum. So it was not nice.
How bad was that? It's like chewing on rubber.
It's gonna be like this one as well. It's gonna be dissolved, and you just can't actually get anything out of it. It just kind of just cracks. And to be honest,
well, they lose their flavor 5 seconds after, and so they probably lost their flavor back in like '89.
Yeah. Well, so the gum's actually stuck to the back of the cards. So we'll. Oh, there we go.
Don't break a tooth.
Not really getting much.
No, but not.
That's 33-year-old gum, man.
Yeah, that was nice. But that was
awesome.
That gum's as old as me.
I'm gonna go brush my teeth after this because I get that taste out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open some cards. If you know anything about the player, just tell a story or whatever. It's going back. A lot of these guys I don't really remember, but we'll get started here. We'll go with Steve Lake.
Nice moustache.
Yeah, he's got the good.
That's more of a goatee.
Well, we know this guy, Rick Sutcliffe.
Rick Sutcliffe.
Oh yeah, well he's on TV all the time.
Yeah,
he was the commentator on the first All-Star game I ever watched on Channel 5. Him and Gary Thorne.
Did he get a no-hitter? I thought he got a no-hitter too. I have to Google that. I don't know.
All right, we've got a Tigers team card from.
Oh yeah, is that Sparky?
Yeah, it's Sparky up there. I can't tell who the pitcher is. I can recognize the catcher is Matt Noakes, but I can't tell. Is it Jack Morris? No, it's not Jack Morris.
When you say Sparky, is that Sparky Lyle?
No, Sparky Anderson.
Sparky Anderson. The other Sparky.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just having Sparky on there is pretty cool.
Cal Ripken, All-Star card.
There he is.
Never heard of him. I have no idea who that guy is.
All right. 86 record player, Roger Clemens.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. One of my idols growing up.
Yeah, this
awesome.
is when he struck out 20 Mariners. So I'll get a lot of shit about this later because I'm a Mariner fan.
Still hurts, doesn't it? Still hurts.
I said my friend Pete, who we had interviewed earlier, sort of a Mariner fan as well, and we had a lot of bad years there. So we had to survive till Griffey, and then we got all right.
Yeah.
Oh, funny! Talk about Mariners. We got Dick
Wow.
Williams.
Who?
Yeah, it was the manager. Yeah, you get manager cards in here. They're not great, but you do get it. They have the checklist on the back side, so you can find out who it is.
There's the good ones. They have those nice poses.
Ron Davis is the pitcher. I don't remember
Ron
him.
Davis. Yeah, got the glasses going though.
We got another team leader card. We got the Twins here.
Yeah, they make it real hard to know who those are.
Ah, gosh, I mean, I usually would know who those are, but 86 Twins, yeah, it's going to be a stretch for me. Okay,
Yeah.
Hall of Famer, Harold Baines.
Yeah, he was decent.
Where do you stand with Harold Baines? And I said, obviously, with him being elected, there was one of those conversations like, well, was he that good, or was it Tony La Russa that just pulled for him?
I think he was good. I obviously longevity. You think about and he was just good every single year. He wasn't like one of those players that had just a slump year or something like that. So, I think other players should go in that have similar stats. I do. So, it's just whether or not where do you draw the line, kind of thing. I think he's deserving. So, and I got to go to Cooperstown. I've been there twice, but last time I actually got to go and spend a lot of time there, which was their last induction.
Right.
Last summer got canceled, so or postponed, which is Jeter. So I would love to go to that. But actually, Lee Smith went in. Remember Lee Smith?
Yep.
So he invited myself and then my boss, Doug Ireland from the Hall of Fame, invited us up. And so we got to go to the Cubs private party in Cooperstown. And man, that was unbelievable. So you got Andre Dawson sitting there. I got to talk to Ryan Sandberg. I got to talk to Ricketts, the team owner, which is just unreal. I was standing right by the commissioner of baseball, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But talk about a kid in a candy shop, man. I was just like, who do I talk to next? This is unreal. It was really cool.
Oh, I'm jealous. Like, that's definitely on the bucket list when I can go out there. I need to go out for a Hall of Fame. And if I can go for an induction weekend, even better. If you do go back out there, one of the other artists out there is he does William from Huntington Baseballs. He does the handcrafted baseballs. He's out there every year.
Oh, is he? He goes every year?
Yeah, he goes every year and sells his Hall of Fame balls out that way. So they're really cool. But yeah, he handcrafts baseballs. He did a bunch of baseballs for Baseball Scotland. So I got the box for it here. And but yeah, he does it all by hand. There you go. So
yeah, very cool.
So yeah, so if you're ever out that way, William's in the project. We're interviewing him next week. And yeah, he's a cool guy. So I'm to be honest, all you guys have been great. I'm totally loving chatting baseball with people because I never get a chance to do it.
So Scotland baseball. Tell me a little bit about Scotland baseball.
Oh man, so I came out here in 2003 and literally saw an ad in the paper that said there's a baseball team out here, and I was like, right, maybe I can help out somewhere, because I thought it was maybe like in the States, and I had no idea. I played high school ball and was going to try to walk on at Oregon State, and the coach set me right and kind of told me how many hours a day that would be expected there, and I'm like, nah, I just don't have that kind of commitment. You've done it, so you understand how much hours it is. And I was like,
it's all day.
Yeah, and I was like, no, it's not going to happen. And they told me that it'd be basically bullpen. I'd be throwing BP for 2 or 3 years before I get on the team, and I was like, I just didn't have the drive for that. So It took me a long time to kind of fall back in love with the game again, because I could see the guys playing and going, I could be out there with them. Came out here, found out it was just an amateur team, and it was mostly made up of locals and some expats. So I went from, literally my mom went to Walmart, grabbed a glove and mailed it to me, because you can't get gloves out here. It was really hard. And went from playing to coaching the team till running the league. So
wow,
gosh,
you worked your way up fast.
Yeah. So what happened is the guy in charge had kids, and so I took over the coaching from there, and he was also the guy running the league, and I just kind of took his steps over there. So there's 7 teams in the league. There's 2 in Edinburgh, 2 in Glasgow, 2 in Aberdeen, and 1 in Tayport, which is kind of Dundee. And there's about 100 people that play. So it's really kind of like
cool.
Love of the game kind of thing, where games come on at Thursdays and Sundays are the best, because games are on at 6 o'clock, and you just kind of watch whatever's there. I mean, I still remember when St. John started watching the same thing. We'd had 2 games a week. It was on a Wednesday and a Sunday. You just kind of watched whatever was on. So I remember being all excited to watch baseball, and we were watching Tampa Bay versus Kansas City. I mean, it was like the 2 worst teams in the league, but it was baseball. I mean, we were watching it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I mean, you come out here, it's pretty small. I mean, I think there's probably about 2,000 people that play in the UK in total. And then you head to the mainland, and it's much bigger there. Like Italy is basically kind of like a semi-pro team. I think you got like 3 foreigners on there. Germany has like 7 different leagues out there. They have a live TV broadcast they go and do out there.
Poland as well.
Yeah, Netherlands out there. So it's quite a high level of baseball considering where we're at. So
it's just cool to hear that it's reaching that point, and it's starting to expand. That's pretty cool.
So what happened was a lot of from World War II, you had all the GIs staying in like Italy and like that there, and with their free time, you played baseball, and so the game grew out from there, and that's how it started.
Wow.
So you literally had, Americans that stayed in Italy and Germany, and they grew the game that way, and the locals started playing, and that's how the game grew from there.
Wow. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
Cool.
so it's fun. I mean, everyone's pretty passionate about it because you are staying up to 3 o'clock in the morning to watch games. World Series absolutely kills us because those 1 o'clock start times are terrible.
Especially if it goes to 7 games.
So it can be a little tough at times, but it's a very passionate group of people that watch out here, and the guys that play, they're super keen to learn as much as you can, and you rely on guys who played high school baseball to kind of pass along what limited skills you had to pass along that way. And the weather doesn't help. I mean, you practice once or maybe twice a week, and then you play a game on a Sunday.
That's tough, man. The game's too hard to only practice a couple times.
Yeah, and so we used to play in northern England, and so we'd have a 5-hour car journey to Manchester, Liverpool. So you would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, jump in a car, play a double header, and then come back and be home at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to work the next day.
Oh man, brutal.
So
well, you know what? If you love it though, if you love it, you'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you would have done the same thing on those bus trips. So we all say we miss those days. Those trips are terrible, but you bonded so much with your teammates on those trips that
I think I could write a book just about the bus trips alone. I think.
Is that something you would consider doing at any point, Chris?
Maybe I could certainly illustrate it.
maybe do an art project.
I keep telling myself I need to. Sorry.
Maybe do like a multimedia project or something like that, with using your art, and go through the years and through some of the crazy bus stories, and do an interpretation of that in your art.
Yeah, of course, some of it would be a rated R book, but
yeah, I've heard some crazy stories about.
I keep telling myself I need to just write it down, because the older I get, the less I'm going to remember, at least accurately. So, so I need to just write it down anyway. So maybe later on when my son gets older, my son's only 5. So, when he gets older, maybe that's something he would like to read.
I'd like to read.
Oh man,
I think it's awesome.
Look at my dad was doing. He woke up at 3 a.m. to a fist fight in the middle of the bus, which actually happened. It was our shortstop and a catcher over a card game. I kind of woke up. I was like, "What is going on?" And managers climbing over the seats on the way to the back of the bus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have any further more cards to come?
Yeah, I do. A couple more. Okay. Billy Sample for the Braves.
Never heard.
There you go. Can't go wrong with the Braves, though.
All right.
Loved them growing up.
So then are you a Dale Murphy fan, or are you more pitching side of things?
Oh, well, I love Dale Murphy.
Right. I think everyone liked Murph.
But this may explain a lot to you right here. My son's name is Maddox.
Ah. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Despite being a Yankee fan, I can't help but feel like Smoltz, Maddox, and Glavine are 3 of the classiest ball players that have ever played the game. And to think that those 3 were on a rotation together in the heart of the 90s is terrifying. It's dumbfounding that they only won the 1 title with that rotation.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you throw Steve Avery in there too. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
I got to hear Smoltz speak a few years back. He came and spoke at the coaches convention, and that was one of the better speeches I'd heard there.
Wow. Okay.
And I feel okay saying that Nolan Ryan spoke at this convention also, and that might have been one of the worst.
Say no more.
Well, that's a shame.
But it's Nolan Ryan, so they escort him in. Everybody's like, "Oh gosh, this is Nolan Ryan. This is going to be great." And then he got done, and you're like, "That was kind of boring. That was a bummer." But But Smoltz was a good one. He really had a good speech, and something that everybody actually benefited from hearing. So he was a good one.
Cool.
I guess Nolan was never paid to philosophize. He was paid to throw fastballs past people. So
Yeah, and he sells air conditioners and beef, I think. So
Beef. Yeah, he still has beef.
he's got his talents.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because doing the Tops 2020, like everyone's trying to get their Ryan vids to Nolan Ryan to sign, and he stopped signing those things now because he's like, nah, you guys are gonna kill me with those things.
Oh man, he needs to sign as much as he can. He's not gonna get any younger.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we'll go back.
Hey, if I could get his signature, I'd be going after it.
You can. You mail it in. You pay $75 donation to his foundation, and you send the card in, and he'll autograph anything.
Oh, really? That's actually pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I'll if I can find the link, I'll send it to you through Instagram later. And yeah, because I was thinking about doing the same thing. But he said he's not taking any Tops 2020 cards because people were just sending so many of those things to him. He's like, I'm done with these.
Oh man. Well, that makes the ones he did sign more valuable.
Well, the card's not worth much, but all right, we'll go back to Hubie Brooks for the Expos.
Yeah. I think I vaguely remember that name.
You remember this name? We got Mike Schmidt for the Phillies.
Big Mike. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one.
All right. Yeah, Dickie Knowles for the Indians.
Indians. Yeah, you won't see that logo anymore.
No, that's. Do you think they're gonna change their name? Not name this season, but maybe next season or 2 seasons from now.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I kind of hope not. I just like tradition, but I guess I'm kind of coming around to understanding. You know, but I guess if they do, the Braves need to also. But I don't know. It's
a tough one. Like I said, yeah, I'm a traditionalist myself, and like I said, it's just the way it is, and I fall in the same boat there. But
I think if anything, it's the Braves that should really be looked at as being the more offensive one, considering the whole chop thing that they do. Is that not more of an offensive gesture than just having a team called the Cleveland Indians? Maybe Chief Wahoo was a bit insensitive, but it's, you know, that logo's been done away with. Is that not enough? And they don't really seem to. The Braves don't really seem to see much backlash for all that kind of the chanting.
Yeah, I haven't heard as much about the Braves as I have the Indians, which is kind of strange. Of course, you know, the Redskins. I grew up a Redskins fan, so I guess my team is done. I guess there's no Redskins anymore. So, you know, it's kind of a bummer, but that's literally talking about skin color. So. Yeah. You know, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, we got Larry Parrish.
Look at that stance. That's a straight up stance right there.
How would you take advantage of a batter straight up like that?
Going down and in on him.
Down and in.
Going down there by those kneecaps.
Yep. All right. Danny Cox for the Cards.
Cardinals.
Good mustache.
Another stash, yeah.
Well, it was 87. I think everyone had a stash. It was required by MLB. White Lowry. I don't remember this guy at all. So
you don't? I remember his name for some reason. I know his name.
Why?
I have no idea.
Why? He went to North Carolina, and he received his degree in industrial relations.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. And then the last card, we got Marty Barrett for the Red Sox.
Marty Barrett. And that's the one they wanted to go with. The throw, what is he, turning 2?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Second baseman?
It says, yeah, second baseman.
It looks in that picture like he's fucking moonshotted that, though. It looks like he's throwing that into the sky.
He's throwing it into the stands.
It's really not a great.
He must not have had a good arm because he was floating it over there.
Well, Chris, thanks so much for coming on. You were a brilliant interview. We had a lot of fun. I think we can go on and on about this. And I look forward to seeing the illustrated book with your stories from the minor leagues. So I definitely will give my money now for that, because that sounds like an awesome thing.
All right, thanks for having me. It was a blast talking to you guys. Anytime you want to do it, let me know.
Cool. All right, man. I think John's, I think his phone died, so he's gone. So thanks again. And yeah, I'll try to find that link for Nolan Ryan for you and send some info about it.
Thanks.
All right, man.
Thank you guys. All right.
Bye.